How many of you have had the experience of getting glasses? Some of you wear glasses. I think some of you probably wear contacts. I've had my glasses since third grade. And really, it wasn't too big a shock to me because both of my parents had glasses. So, I kind of just figured that was going to happen sooner or later. And I was sent to the nurse's office because apparently I couldn't see stuff that was on the board at school. And they, had me stand at this line and read the letters off of the chart at the other end of the room. And I read, E. Then it was like C, J. Can you read the fifth line down of the three that are there? What? Yeah, wasn't great, and has continued to get that way. But the experience of getting that first pair of glasses, of seeing things that you didn't know you weren't seeing. My mom got her glasses when she was 12. And she has told me this story that as she and her mother were leaving the, optometrist with her new glasses on, she said, "Mom, look, those trees have leaves." You don't know what you can't see if you can't see it, right? Getting sight can be transformative. We've been reading in Mark chapter 10, and we come now to the last passage in this chapter. It's a healing. It's the healing of a man named Bartimaeus. Now, Jesus has just predicted 3 times, for the third time, that he will be put to death, but will be raised again on the third day. And right after that, 2 of his most trusted disciples, his inner circle, James and John, had demonstrated a complete and total misunderstanding of his mission by asking if they could be at his right hand and left hand when he came into his glory. On the heels of that lesson, then, when Jesus told them that in order to be a great leader, one must be the slave of all. Jesus and his followers came into Jericho. As Jesus was leaving Jericho, that's a really short trip. In that one, between those first 2 sentences, apparently he's made it through the whole city. The point is they're just passing through on the way to Jerusalem. As Jesus was leaving Jericho, together with his disciples and a sizable crowd, a blind beggar named Bartimaeus, Timaeus' son, was sitting beside the road. When he heard that Jesus of Nazareth was there, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, show me mercy." Many scolded him, telling him to be quiet. But he shouted even louder, "Son of David, show me mercy." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him over." They called the blind man. "Be encouraged, get up. He's calling you." throwing his coat to the side, he jumped up and came to Jesus. Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said, "Teacher, I want to see." It should say see again, because that's the correct interpretation of the Greek. Jesus said, "Go, your faith has healed you." At once he was able to see, and he began to follow Jesus on the way. Let us hear what the Spirit is speaking to God's people. This is a very interesting story, a very interesting healing in Mark. Bartimaeus experiences not only the restoration of his sight, but that means that pretty much everything changes for him. It makes me wonder if he had thought it all the way through, if he had thought about what to ask for, what made him think that Jesus could give him sight. What led him to ask for his sight, and what did he think would then be the result? After all, he could have asked for other things. He could have asked for money. He could have assumed that this guy that everybody's been talking about has a big crowd around him. Probably he's important. That probably means he's rich, so he could have just asked for lots of money. In that time, beggars, disabled people, most would sit on the side of the road, and they were acknowledged to be somewhat necessary. They reminded people that they were supposed to, good God-following people are supposed to give money to the poor, and so they were supposed to sit there just as gentle physical reminders that we should care for poor people. But they were not supposed to interrupt important things or do things to attract attention to themselves. They were supposed to just be barely noticed. Bartimaeus definitely breaks that rule. He jumps up and he runs to Jesus. Did you notice what Jesus asked him? Bartimaeus comes up. He's hollered, "Son of David, show mercy, show me mercy." And Jesus asks him, "What do you want me to do for you?" If you were here last Sunday, that might sound very familiar, because only 10 verses prior, Jesus asks the exact same question of James and John. They come running to him and they tell him, they get him alone and they say, we want you to do whatever we ask. They try the parent loophole hook of say yes before I tell you what I want. And Jesus responds, What do you want me to do for you? At least that's how I hear it. I hear a very different tone. I hear a skeptical, uh-oh. But this time, I hear a compassionate, how can I serve you? What do you want me to do for you? Certainly, the context of that same exact question highlights the difference in these two settings, in these two types of disciples. The ones who have had the benefit of being with Jesus and teaching and walking all over Judea and Galilee and hearing him, and yet still somehow pretty much completely missing the point. And this blind guy who's not supposed to be important or know anything, and yet his faith heals him. Now, when Bartimaeus is healed, have you ever thought about what happens after the people who were healed get healed? Usually, Jesus tells them to go and gives them a specific instruction, like, go and wash in this pool. Go and show yourself to the priest so they know that you're clean. You can live with your family again. For example, if you'd had leprosy or something. He usually says, go and do something. Here, he says, just go. Your faith has healed you. But Bartimaeus can't just go and resume doing what he was before, because what he was before was a blind beggar. If a blind beggar is not blind, they're just a beggar, and they don't get nearly as many alms. He's not disabled anymore. So how is he going to get people to give him money? He can't just go back to his life, because that won't work. I wonder if he thought, I guess I have to get a job now, or I have to learn a trade. Who's going to hire me? But Bartimaeus, I don't know if he's thought through all of those things. What he chooses to do is follow Jesus. He has been healed. He has known wholeness and restoration, and he wants to see more of that. He wants to be a part of seeing other people be healed. It begs the question, how has our faith changed our lives? If it's a faith that's worth having, it should show. It should be something visible that other people notice. The early church often got reactions from the society around them of, why? Why are they so caring? Why are they so concerned about the poor? Why do they care for each other when they're sick? Why do they visit people who are in prison? Why? Why do they love each other, even of different social standing? Why do they do that? That was what caught people's attention. And I think that's what should catch people's attention still today. Our faith should be contagious. Something that when we know healing, when we have been restored, we want to see more. We want to do more of that. We want to see other people healed and whole. Bartimaeus joins Jesus' journey at a very interesting time. This episode concludes chapter 10, and chapter 11 of Mark's gospel begins with what we now call Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. You know, when he rode on the back of a donkey and the crowds waved and cheered and the palm branches thing. That's the last week of Jesus' life on earth. Bartimaeus joins the crowd, joins the disciples at that last, very crucial part of the journey, when things get really real. Certainly he couldn't have known that that was what he was signing up for. But apparently that's what he did. He followed Jesus and demonstrated that believing in Jesus changed not only his physical condition, but it changed all of him, his identity, his purpose in life. Everything changed when he was healed. Thank you very much. Sorry, I attempted to breathe my water for some reason. You should not try to multitask like that, by the way. I hope that you have found your time this morning with us to be meaningful. And if you are discerning the next steps in your faith journey, if you would like to know more, I would love to help you with that, to see where God is taking you. My contact information is on the bottom of the prayer request flap, that page. And so call or text or email me and let me know. We'll set up a time to visit together. If you are ready to make a decision this morning to claim Christ for the first time, perhaps to reaffirm your faith if it has been a while, or if you would like to join with our community of faith, we would be honored if you would make us more of who God is calling us to be. If you'd like to make any of those decisions this morning, I'd love to celebrate them with you, and I'd invite you to come and share that with me as we all stand and lift our voices in song once more.
shall unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee, ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine.
Thank you so much for choosing to begin your week in worship with us. We are so grateful that you're here. I pray that you have a fun, a safe week, and that you choose to be the reason someone smiles today. Go in peace.